What's going on, guys? My name is Aldas and today I'm going to be doing my top 5 drivers of 2019. So the season is now over, but there is plenty of content still on the way. There is plenty to talk about with regards to reflecting back on 2019, and today, like I said, we're going to be doing my top 5 drivers of 2019. I am very much looking forward to this video, and I'm also very much looking forward to seeing what you guys think in the comments below with your personal top 5 as well. And now, if I do sound a little bit different, that is because I'm a little bit ill and I've got something called post-Formula 1 season flu, basically. That is definitely a real illness. So yeah, if I sound a little bit rough, that's why. But don't worry, guys, I'm battling through it. And as I said, very much looking forward to today's video. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy the content on my channel and want to support me, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button as well, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. But guys, let's get into my top 5 drivers of 2019. So in 5th place, we have Charles Leclerc for Ferrari. Now, the really interesting thing about Leclerc for me is that he actually almost didn't make it onto my top 5 list, because when I actually started making it, I was looking at the entire season as a whole, and I didn't want to just get caught up in emotion, and I really did want to get a good list that was statistically sound, but also kind of in the context of the driver's season and what he managed to do. To be honest, I mean, Valtteri Bottas almost made it into that 5th place, and Daniel Ricciardo almost did as well, so it was very close, but in the end, I did go with Charles Leclerc. Now, arguably, those two drivers actually made less mistakes and were arguably more consistent on the Sunday. Don't get me wrong, Charles Leclerc has not had the perfect season. There is quite a lot that he needs to work on. Certainly his emotions in the car. He doesn't have that calm head just yet, and definitely on track he needs to work on his wheel-to-wheel skills. Monza was very borderline in my opinion with Hamilton, and then of course he did lose out to Max Verstappen for the win in Austria. So he does need to develop on some things, but again, he's a very young driver, but at the same time, you're at Ferrari, you're at a very big team, so you don't have many of those excuses left. He needs to, he needs to develop fast if he wants to actually challenge for a championship. But having said all that, he's been absolutely amazing in 2019, especially to watch in the way the season kind of started, with Mercedes dominating, and then the rise of Charles Leclerc, the rise of Max Verstappen, that little rivalry building. I cannot wait to see more of that in the future. That is going to be a very big talking point in years to come. Everything just sort of started in 2019 for Charles Leclerc, and of course he was the man at Ferrari to give them their first pole position and their first race win of the season as well. I think something else that really impressed me about Charles as well is how quickly he acclimatized to the team and just kind of became one of the guys. He really did not take a lot of time, especially with the car, and kind of getting used to it. He was quick and on the money and on the pace right from the get-go, and in terms of qualifying, that has been his biggest strength. 7 pole positions, more than anyone else in 2019, and a qualifying record of 12-9 against his teammate Sebastian Vettel. A lot closer than I think a lot of people might realize. He hasn't dominated 7 qualifying, but certainly with those 7 pole positions, he has dominated, the entire field, but that only translated to 2 race wins. So as great as it has been seeing his rise, that's not really a great record. I mean, in terms of those 2 wins, 2 really kind of emotional weekends. First of all, with Belgium, with the death of Antoine Hubert, a very close friend of his, that could not have been easy, but the way he handled the emotion and the pressure is just, it's just phenomenal to think that it's only his 2nd season in Formula 1 and his first for Ferrari. And then, of course, Monza, the home of the Tifosi, the way he handled the pressure there, what he's done this season, the way he's been able to cope with the pressure, arguably better than his 4-time world champion teammate, has been one of the biggest highlights. He was very exciting to watch, and whenever he was on screen, it was almost, I can't wait to see what happens next. So yeah, again, hopefully he will develop even more into 2020 and perhaps be able to challenge for a championship. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But Charles Leclerc, he's in 5th. Now, in 4th place, I have Sergio Perez. Now, actually, last year when I made this exact list, my top 5 drivers of 2018, I also put Sergio Perez in that top 5, and I got so much stick and so much flack from so many people in the comments, but guess what? I don't care. He is still in my list for 2019 because he has been amazing. A really big surprise, or maybe not really a big surprise, I should say, because he's always dependable. He's always consistent, and it's what you kind of expect from Sergio Perez. But in the context of 2019 and what this season means for him and the team, obviously with the new team ownership, so there was always going to be a little bit of instability at the start of the season, especially Racing Point being late on car development also means that they were always going to have a difficult start, and then racing against the boss's son, Lance Stroll, so Sergio knew he would have had to keep it clean, and that's kind of difficult for him because Sergio Perez does not back down for anyone. He's got that kind of South American, Latin just fire in his stomach. He doesn't back down for Jenson Button, who was a world champion in McLaren. He doesn't back down for a star like Ocon coming into his team, he doesn't back down for anyone, but he kind of had to rein it in a little bit, although it was kind of made easy by the fact that he dominated Lance Stroll. I mean, absolutely carried the Racing Point team, and I kind of just want to ask, I mean, he dominated his teammate, but honestly, where would the team be without Sergio? I don't even want to think about it. In terms of qualifying, 18-3. That is just ridiculous. Scored over 71% of the team's points for 2019. And in the second half of the season, he actually started in 16th, by the way, after Hungary, going into Belgium. He then finished the season in 10th place. And in the second half of the season, by the way, managed to score 39 points, more than any other driver in the midfield, outscoring Carlos Sainz, who we'll talk about a little bit later, by 1 point. That's how good he was in the back end of the season. And Sergio Perez is one of those guys that will never get the TV time that he deserves. He'll never get the love that he deserves, but he's got so much talent. We've seen it over the years, and yet again, another consistent, another brilliant, another just out of the box season for Sergio Perez. He does this every single year and still doesn't get the recognition, but Sergio Perez, you've been a brilliant driver and you are 4th in my top 5. Now, guys, we're getting into the business end of my top 5, and in 3rd place we have Max Verstappen, arguably, and maybe could have been a little bit higher on this list, but it was so close and so tough to choose, guys, but Max ended up in 3rd. Now, as far as his quali stats, 19-2 against his 2 teammates, Gasly and Albon. Technically, actually, he would have whitewashed his teammates, because the only time that Gasly out-qualified him was in Canada, when Magnussen, if you remember, crashed and prevented Max from doing a run, and then the only time Albon managed to out-qualify Max was in Italy, when Max had a engine penalty and wasn't able to do a proper quali run. So technically, he actually whitewashed his teammate. So congrats there. He managed to get 2 pole positions. That first one finally breaking his duct in Hungary, and then another one in Brazil. Brilliant pole lap in Brazil, actually. He managed to get 3 wins, but more than the stats, Max, the thing that's impressed me most of all is the extreme consistency, scoring points in 19 of the 21 races, and then, I mean, reaching a new level for both maturity and leading the team and putting confidence into both Red Bull, but more importantly, Honda. He could have easily just been a very stroppy, kind of Max Verstappen that he was not very happy about not winning the title, blaming Honda for this, that, and the third, but he wasn't. And that has what has impressed me most about Max Verstappen. We always knew he would have the speed, but this season, when he wasn't quite given a good enough car, he was so respectful to Honda and allowed them to develop. And then when they finally won their first race, if you remember on the podium, he pointed straight to the Honda badge. Massive props to that. And I think he understands the importance of building a team around him, like Schumacher did in Ferrari and like Hamilton has at Mercedes. Whether he'll be there for the long run, we'll have to wait and see. But him pointing to the badge and kind of solidifying Honda's kind of trust in the team, that was massive. And that just showed a huge amount of maturity in Max. And then, of course, he always had his speed and consistency. And in my opinion, there's only 2 drivers in the upper echelon of Formula 1 at the moment, and that's Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, and it isn't even close with anyone else in terms of speed and consistency. When is this guy going to get a championship challenging car? Hopefully it is next year, because then we are going to see a real fight between Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and hopefully the Ferraris as well. So we're getting into the top 2, and I mean, it was so difficult to pick, but in 2nd place is Lewis Hamilton. Not in 1st place like last year, but I mean, first of all, let's just run off through not just the stats, by the way, but the records. Most wins in 2019 with 11, equaling his best in any of his seasons. Most laps led in 2019, finished in the points in every single race in 2019, and was the only driver to do that, by the way, and now has had 33 consecutive points finishes, which equals actually his own record for consecutive points finishes. So if he scores another point in Australia in 2020, he beats that record. He's had the most successful season in terms of points with 413, and has now broke the record for the most amount of points in a single season by any Formula 1 driver. Now, to be honest, away from all of those stats and records and the fact that he also did, of course, beat his teammate in qualifying and, oh yeah, won a 6th world title, I honestly don't really know what else to say about Lewis Hamilton. I mean, what do I say that hasn't already been said? He obviously is one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent driver on the field. Like I said, scored points in every single race. He doesn't get involved in needless crashes, which again just aids to his consistency. And then something else we've seen this season, and something that has actually been questioned for some reason by some people, is his racing ability, wheel to wheel. The way he chased down Valtteri Bottas in Silverstone and put him under pressure. The way he chased down Max Verstappen in Hungary and did basically 20 quali laps. He's still got it. He's still got that ultimate raw pace, and he's still exciting to watch, which is great. But on top of that, he also, the way he works with Mercedes is second to none. The way he works outside, and what we don't see as fans, he goes back and he thinks about things and how to improve. Even on a season like this, he's always looking for a way to improve and come back stronger next season. And every single year I just think, where is this guy's like ceiling? When is he going to stop beating the records from the previous years, or when is he going to have kind of a decline? I'm still yet to see it, and honestly, I don't even know what to say about Lewis Hamilton anymore. He's had another stellar season in 2019, and again, I'm looking forward to seeing what the young guns can do against him in 2020. So guys, to finish the list, in first place, my best driver of 2019. Can you guess who it is? Haha, it's the chili, it's the smooth operator, Carlos Sainz. What a season, the biggest surprise all year round. I mean, first of all, 6th in the championship, what an achievement. He managed to clinch it in Abu Dhabi. And the really amazing thing about that 6th place, by the way, guys, is that he beat 2 drivers who had the chance to drive a Red Bull for half a season. So that's half a season for both Pierre Gasly and Alexander Albon to score very strong points. And yet, through consistency and being just unbelievable, like on a Sunday, never making any mistakes and always getting the maximum out of a really good McLaren car, Carlos Sainz managed to finish 6th above both of them. The highlight of the season has to be Brazil, going from last to 3rd on the podium. And really, that race just absolutely epitomized this season, because he hasn't been the best qualifier. There's no doubt about that, and actually got beaten by his rookie teammate Lando Norris 11-10 in qualifying. He's actually the only driver on this list in my top 5 drivers of 2019 to be beaten by their teammate in qualifying. But putting that aside, the reason why he is my number 1 driver is that in 2019, the midfield has been ridiculously close. Other than Williams and perhaps Haas as well, every single midfield team is always scrapping for points every single race, trying to do their best in a very ultra-competitive grid. And Carlos Sainz, to be honest, he's miles ahead of anyone else in that midfield. Anyone comparable anyway. Daniel Ricciardo, I think, is the next guy down that's really comparable, that's been in the midfield team all year round. And he is miles ahead of Daniel Ricciardo because he's been ridiculously consistent. Race in, race out, he's always just there. And even when he started quite far back, because McLaren have had reliability issues, he just made his way through the field with a great strategy and a cutting edge in his overtaking. Not that we ever got to see any of it, because Formula 1 don't want to show Carlos Sainz, but he was always there scoring those ridiculous points, and in the end, dominated that midfield. He only needs to work on his qualifying a little bit more to just go to that next level and really be championship quality. But other than that, he has been absolutely flawless, and he is my driver of the season. Anyway guys, there you go. That is my top 5 drivers of 2019. Now let me know your top 5 in the comments below, and don't forget to look out for my next video, which will be of the top 5 worst drivers of 2019. So yeah, definitely look forward to that one. Anyway guys, I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. But guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.